It's overcast.
This is a global operation, and it affects everybody and every living thing. So this is that important.
There are arguments put forth that chemtrails, or these man-made clouds, are all normal due to the right atmospheric conditions, but this is not a reasonable argument. The fact is that the introduction of fine chemicals or aerosols into the atmosphere have a profound effect on cloud formation. Unfortunately, this is not taken into consideration by scientists to explain the phenomenon that we are all witnessing.
Can particles influence the formation of clouds? I went to Geneva to visit CERN, where scientists study how particles and radiation influence the formation of clouds.
We assume that there are man-made effects influencing today's formation of clouds through humans' direct introduction of various particles into the atmosphere, and these particles then serving as condensation nuclei for the formation of clouds, which influence the climate. Because the properties of clouds, how long they persist, and how much sunlight they reflect, that changes, depending on how much additional man-made aerosols are put into the air.
Data from California EPA confirming aluminum contamination in waterways throughout California. This is from Cal EPA. There's about 26 lab tests in here confirming that there is aluminum, barium, strontium in our air. What we're all breathing here, we're all exposed to. We face a lot of legitimate challenges here. I agree with you. I agree with a lot of points brought up, but I would ask anybody in the room, what challenges will we face if we're inhaling aluminum on a day in, day out basis? If our streams are contaminated with aluminum, how can we prepare when our soils no longer grow properly, when we have a UV issue that's off the charts? So when we have Cal EPA stating that this is not in their jurisdiction, these climate modification programs that are absolutely going on, we have CARB saying not in their jurisdiction, Shasta County saying not in their jurisdiction. I would like to ask, since we know these programs are...
Maybe the federal EPA, because they're trying to take over every mud puddle and ditch and backyard pond in the world, so maybe somebody will find it. Right?
It is part of it. Water rights are being pursued, and we know the drought is a 2 + 2 = 4 equation. We have the satellite imagery to prove it up. So I'm going to hand this data off to you. I have a copy for you and for your staff. My question would be this: since everybody is passing the buck here, will your office address the fact that we have an absolute, positively, like a heavy metal contamination issue that cannot be disputed? It's a public health hazard. We have a UV radiation issue that's so intense it's burning the bark off of trees. All appear to be related to these climate modification programs, but these issues are indisputable public health hazards. Since nobody else will address it, will your office address it?
What we are seeing is man-made, but man-made in a different way than you may guess. Weather modification programs, experimental ones done by private companies, done by the United States government, done by states across the United States, are underway. There's more than 50 of them in operation across the United States. All of these impact agriculture because they change the microclimates needed for agriculture to survive. None of these programs that I know of today, and this is all public record, are available at any time with oversight, agricultural oversight or public oversight. These programs impact agriculture, and there are programs around the world. International corporations are modifying our weather all the time, and they're modifying it in ways that cover thousands and thousands of square miles. Most of it is chemically altered, so that what happens is that we are putting chemicals, ground-based chemicals that are shot into the air, or chemicals coming from airplanes that change and modify our weather. So one of the things that I'm concerned about and that we need to address in the future is how these programs are impacting microclimates needed for our crops to survive and needed for pollination. If we change the growing season, the pollinators may not survive, and also our crops, our flowers, and our tree crops may not get the pollination needed. So one of my areas is looking at this situation to see if we can begin to put under control experimental and other types of weather modification programs. The other issue is that a lot of times we're talking about mitigation for climate change. It's rather an undefined term at this period of time. And so what happens is that many times we're talking about artificially putting chemicals like sulfur or particulates into the atmosphere in what they call geoengineering schemes to reduce and help the planet, supposedly, but help the planet to not go through such a tremendous global climate change and to mitigate global warming. However, the incidence of putting chemicals into our atmosphere is going to change and impact agricultural crop production. And if you take and you put up into our skies chemicals to reduce the amount of sunlight reaching the earth, you are going to begin to reduce crop production. Studies at the University of Illinois on corn crop production show reductions. Without the process of photosynthesis, whereby plants from direct sunlight gain the energy to grow, to produce crops, we are going to find ourselves, if we mitigate in that direction, impacting the crop production not only here in the United States, but worldwide.